Last time we were discussing that how can you find the state of matter if you know the melting and the boiling point of anything at any temperature, not just at 20 degrees centigrade, but at any temperature. So we did an exercise for that at the end of the class. I hope you're familiar with that. If any of you has a question about it, please ask. Okay, from this table, I would like to clarify one thing. Look at the bottommost value of this table on page number 24. You would see that there is only one value given for carbon dioxide. Instead of one value for melting point and one value for boiling point, there is only one value given over here, that is minus 78 degrees centigrade, uh, which is actually subliming temperature. It's not melting temperature, it's not boiling temperature, it's subliming temperature. Subliming temperature is the temperature where the gas converts into a solid or solid converts back into a gas, as the sublimable compound does not go into liquid state. So there is no melting point, there is no boiling point, there is only subliming temperature. Okay? I would like you all to mention it over here. Okay? Let me mention it for you for your help. This is subliming temperature. ठीक? So the minus 78 degrees centigrade for carbon dioxide is actually subliming temperature. Please also mention it on your books. Any questions about subliming temperature? All right, moving forward. The effect of impurity. This is something I have also clarified that day, but let's make sure that we discuss it again today. So if any impurity is added to a pure substance, the melting and boiling point of the pure substance will be affected. How are they affected? In order to get to that, this pink portion on the next page, page number 25, is important. Remember, any pink portions in the book are going to be extremely important because they will be the most highlighted or most imperative stuff. So make sure that you memorize all the pink portions in a proper way. What does this one say? This one says that the presence of an impurity in a substance lowers the melting point and raises the boiling point. So let's understand with the help of an example. As said in the previous paragraph of the book, when we talk about pure water, the pure water melts or freezes at 0 degrees centigrade. However, it boils at 100. See? Which means as soon as there is an impurity added to water, what can be an impurity? Salt can be an impurity. Sugar can be an impurity. If you mix a little bit of sugar to that water, water is not pure anymore. It's impure water. Right? So what would happen to the freezing point? The freezing point would have a smaller value than 0. What is a smaller value than 0? Any negative value, which means it won't freeze at 0. It would instead freeze at -1 or -2 or -0.5, but anything smaller than 0. Do we get the idea?
Yes, sir.
Good, good. And the same thing is going to happen to boiling point, but there would be a difference, that there would be a difference in boiling point, but the difference would that it would increase, it won't decrease, right? So if we're going to add a little bit of salt to water or a little bit of sugar to water, the water will not boil at 100 degrees centigrade anymore. It would in fact go higher than 100, which means 100.2 or 100.8 or 100 point, or 101 or 101.5 or something like that. See? Although we do clarify how much change is going to be in the temperature for freezing or melting point difference, but we do not clarify the change at your level, which means it's beyond the requirement of IGCSE. So for now, what you are going to write, or what you are going to keep in your mind, is that the boiling point would increase from the original value, and the melting point would decrease from the original value, right? So as the boiling point or melting points were sharp for pure substances, for impure substances, the melting and boiling points will not be sharp. Instead, they will boil over a range of temperatures, not at a particular point. So water can be boiled over 100 degrees centigrade, and there could be a range. It depends what is mixed in water and how much amount is mixed in water. See? And to understand that, it goes beyond the requirements of IGCSE. हम इस level पे ये चीज नहीं पढ़ाते. अभी आपने सिर्फ ये understand करना है that it lowers the melting point and it raises the boiling point, right? One more thing we need to understand is that the water we consume every day, it's not pure water. ठीक है? What kind of water do we consume every day? अगर आप मार्केट में जाएं और आप पानी पूछेंगे तो आप सादा पानी नहीं पूछेंगे. आप क्या पूछेंगे? I need mineral water. See, what is mineral water? Mineral water is actually a mixture of water and the most important of salts that are important for human body, such as table salt is in there and salts of sodium, magnesium, calcium are in there, which means as soon as a salt is mixed into water, the water is not pure anymore and then it won't melt, it won't freeze at 0, it won't boil at 100, it would be something more than 100 as the boiling point raises, or less than 0 as the melting or freezing point changes and becomes lower. Do we all get the idea properly? Or do we have a question? Okay, good. Good. If you don't have a question and you get the idea, that means you can talk about anything they talk about in exams. इस बात का क्या मतलब है? एग्जाम्स में अगर आपको क्वेश्चन आता है तो किसी भी अननोन चीज के बारे में बात कर सकते हैं. मैं सिर्फ वाटर के बारे में बात कर रहा हूँ. किसी भी अननोन चीज के बारे में बात कर सकते हैं. उसकी मेल्टिंग या बॉइलिंग पॉइंट स्पेसिफाई कर सकते हैं. उसमें कोई इम्प्योरिटी ऐड कर सकते हैं, कोई सी भी इम्प्योरिटी, और आपसे पूछ सकते हैं चेंज क्या आएगा. आपका आंसर बड़ा सिंपल होना चाहिए. जो बॉइलिंग पॉइंट उन्होंने बताया उससे बड़ी कोई वैल्यू आएगी, आप वैल्यू स्पेसिफाई नहीं करेंगे बेटा. लेट्स सपोज उन्होंने बॉइलिंग पॉइंट के लिए कोई वैल्यू बताई है. हम ऐसा करते हैं कि हम एग्जांपल कंसीडर करते हैं. लेट्स सपोज वो अल्कोहल की बात कर रहे थे. ठीक है. नाउ फॉर अल्कोहल यू कैन सी द बॉइलिंग पॉइंट वैल्यू इज 78. ठीक है. लेट मी हाईलाइट दैट फॉर यू. ठीक. 78 वैल्यू होती है अल्कोहल के लिए. जैसे ही अल्कोहल में हम थोड़ी सी भी कोई इम्प्योरिटी डालते हैं, लेट्स सपोज लैब में अल्कोहल के अंदर वाटर मिक्स हो जाता है, हमने फ्यू ड्रॉप्स ऑफ वाटर उस अल्कोहल में डाल दिए. नाउ द अल्कोहल इज नॉट प्योर एनीमोर. अब ये किस टेम्परेचर पे बॉइल करेगा? व्हाट वुड बी योर आंसर? You're not going to answer 79 or 80 just because 78 is written over there. You are going to write higher than 78. That is what your answer is going to be. You're not going to specify any temperature. You're going to just simply say higher than 78. In the same way, if we talk about melting point or freezing point of alcohol, that is minus 117, and if some water is mixed into it, that's not pure anymore. It's now impure alcohol, and impure alcohol will not freeze at minus 17. In fact, will take some temperature lower than minus 17. Remember, आप उससे कोई वैल्यू कोट नहीं करेंगे. आप minus 17 की बजाय खुद से minus 18, minus 19, minus 120 लिखना चाहें. That's not correct. You do not know the exact value. However, what you know for sure is that it would be something smaller than minus 17, right? So never quote a value in this case because you do not know the exact value. Only quote the range that it would be higher than or lower than this value. This will get you to your answer and you will not also lose marks. Are we all clear?